Okay, kids, it's time for another episode of the Fueled by Weird podcast, the only podcast that gets you one step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. My name's Chris Daly, and tonight I'd like to welcome Mr. Marvin Wynn to the show. Marvin, what's going on, my friend?
It's another day here in the Berg, 95 degrees, trying to stay cool.
Nice. Yeah, it's getting pretty toasty here on the West Coast. Not quite 95, but we're supposed to be hitting that here in the next couple days, and I'm very much not looking forward to that. All right, man. Well, like I was saying before we started, I'm very excited we can get to do this. We've been friends on social media for a while and haven't really ever got the chance to talk, so I'm excited to chat with you.
Cool.
It'll be fun. All right. So I like to start these things off with an icebreaker question. So tonight's
Mhm.
question is, what was the first way you ever made money?
The first way I ever made money, helping my granddad.
Right on. What'd you help him with? Just
So,
like stuff around the
uh,
house or?
yeah, so my granddad kind of was the first person to kind of put books in my hands.
Nice.
So, he charged me with reading the dictionary, and he tested me on the dictionary,
Oh, wow.
and then he put a lot of books in my hands, and he paid me for every book I read.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. I'd say for me is probably either babysitting or mowing lawns. That was kind of the first way I made money just because, when you're a kid, there's not a lot of ways you can make money. So,
Right.
but yeah, so I'm very excited. You said you're in Philly or Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
Awesome. Okay, so kind of another icebreaker question, but not really. It's a little bit easier. So how long have you lived in Pittsburgh?
All my life.
Right on. So that makes this even more perfect. So if I were to come, or if anyone was to come for the first time to Pittsburgh, what are some things you'd recommend to do while they're there, or places to visit, places to eat? What would you say?
So the first place I would say is all the museums. Like Pittsburgh has a museum system. So we've got the Carnegie Museum of History. We've got the Carnegie Art Museum, which are connected in two buildings. So you buy a ticket for one, you go to the other one.
Oh, nice.
And then across the bridge, you have the Andy Warhol.
Oh,
And
wow.
then
Okay.
on the other side of the north side, you have the Science Center.
Nice.
It was the Carnegie Science Center. A family paid a lot of money to get their name on it. I will never call it by that. It's always going to be the Science Center. Just
Fair
like
enough.
Acrisure is still Heinz Field. That is Heinz Field. It'll be Heinz Field. Will never be anything else but Heinz Field. And
Right
to
on.
eat, I will tell you, don't go to Permanis because the Permanis is the thing that you always hear about with Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't like their sandwiches. I don't like meat, like veggies, coleslaw, and then French fries on a sandwich. It's not good at all,
Okay,
and
fair
it's just
enough.
gonna give you a stomach ache. So don't eat there. Honestly, Pittsburgh is kind of dried up on local restaurants. Like we've become a place of franchises.
Oh man.
But if you can, and if you like gyros, gyros, heroes, I'll say Mike and Tony's is probably the best place for that in the city.
Right on. Very cool. That's awesome. I'm a pretty big wrestling fan myself, so I think if I was to go to Pittsburgh, I'd have to kind of veer off course a little bit and go to Philly and visit the 2300 Arena, or that's what it used to be called anyway. But yeah, that'd be something I'd have to make sure to fit into the schedule. But that's some cool stuff, man. So I appreciate you sharing that with me and whoever else might be planning a trip to the Berg anytime soon. Very cool. All right, so I want to know first of all, what is some of the stuff you do when you're not busy working, when you're not busy writing? Like, what are some of your hobbies, your interests? What's some stuff that you're into?
I'm a gamer, so got the
Okay,
PS5 back over here.
right on.
And I try to venture into the more open world game. So I've got Crimson
Okay.
Desert. I've played maybe 20 minutes of that game, but I keep going back to Helldivers 2,
Oh, nice.
because it's something quick. Like I can just jump in, do a
Yeah, yeah,
mission, and then walk away from it. Other games, like you think of games like that, GTA and stuff like that, it's a time sink.
yeah,
I played Skyrim for 2 years and never finished the game. I just recently finished, actually played through the whole and finished it, got to the end of the game. I'm like, oh, okay. There's still stuff to do though. So
yeah.
like that, like to me, Skyrim is a time sink. And sometimes I try to avoid games like that, but then I fall into that trap sometimes, like, and then I just can't stop playing it.
No, I get it, man. Those kind of games definitely do something to draw you in and just kind of keep
Yeah.
you locked in. I'd have to say, for gaming, that's, open world games are, some of my favorite ones. I do also,
Mhm.
like you said, just sometimes you want to just drop in and start like shooting stuff or beating people up or whatever.
Mhm.
Those are kind of nice sometimes, but one of my favorite open world games is Just Cause 2.
Yes.
Have you played that before?
Yes.
Oh, dude, it's
Yeah, I
so
played all of
good.
them.
It's so like I played the first one a little bit and it wasn't quite as good.
Hmm.
But man, number two,
Yeah.
I have number three. I've just never got to it yet. But man, number two is so good.
Part three is satisfying because not you get a jetpack in part three.
Oh, dope, dude. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But then part four, it's it's one of those it's one of those things where there's a bunch of stuff on the map
Yeah,
and you don't know what to do or where to go. So I was like, there's too much stuff going on. So I I haven't played much of part four, but part three, I think part three was my favorite one because of the jetpack.
that's cool. Yeah, that I don't know what it is about that game, but I pumped so many hours into number two, man. It's so good. Okay, so I want to take a trip in the Wayback Machine now and kind of go all the way back to what it was that, inspired you to become a writer in the first place.
Mhm. So there, I would say that there's two paths in that one. So,
Okay.
I grew up in the 80s.
Hmm.
So it was Transformers, G.I. Joe,
Yeah.
Robotech, Voltron, all those things where you had uh, long form storytelling, where it's not just a one and done, it's carrying over, which is why it's like Star Trek Deep Space Nine is my favorite one because that one has long form storytelling. It's not just a one-off episode or a two-part episode, and
Yeah.
then the things they did are forgotten later in in the series. Like you solved this problem already by doing this, but now you're going to do something different. And that's why I like Deep Space Nine because it's a carryover story
Dude,
where things
Deep
that
Space Nine
happen
is so good.
in the first season carry over into the last season.
That's
So starting with those kind of things, and then when Image was formed, so that was my thing. Was like, oh, so these guys who kind of had it good in my mind, because you're working for Marvel or DC,
yeah,
that's having it good.
for sure.
Decide that we don't want to have it good no more. We want to go out into the world and try and do it on our own.
Yes, sir.
And to be successful at that, I looked at that and said, hey, maybe I can write a story. And I will say this every time that someone asks that everything I wrote that first year was utter trash. Horrible stories.
Okay.
Nothing made sense.
Yeah.
And there weren't characters, there were powers. So I was like, okay, so I'm creating a character. Oh, they've got this power. They do this with this power. They've got no backstory. They've got no family. They're just this power. So I kind of pushed everything to the side, made it kind of easy on myself. I took some writing classes and business classes because I knew I wanted to do this on my own. I didn't want to like be handcuffed to other things
Yeah.
and started crafting a story from there. And then when I met my artist Mark, I think that's when it really took off. Once I saw his character designs, it made the characters real. I didn't think they were real before because they didn't have any background. Like they were just a facade. It was faked. It
Yeah.
felt fake to me. And I
Sure.
have those notebooks, and one day I'll publish those things and let people see the differences between what I was doing in the beginning and then what I was doing like 5, 6 years later.
That's cool, man. Um, and yeah, I've got to say, I agree with you with Deep Space Nine. My dad was a huge Trekkie, and so I,
Mhm.
got to experience, Trek of all kinds. But man, there's something about Ben Sisko, man, that just
Yeah.
he's the man, dude. So
And
good.
what you really liked the character is that not only was he the commander, captain, spiritual leader, he was a dad.
Yeah.
And that was very rare in Star Trek for the leader of the show to be a dad, not just to his own son, but to his crew.
Yeah.
Like he was giving them advice on life and love and how to survive the things that were going on that station.
Yeah, because I mean, in previous iterations of the show, you never really saw, the captain and, people on the ship, interacting in
Mhm.
in a casual way like that. So
Yeah.
it was kind of a cool, change for his character for that
Yeah.
character. So that's very cool. And yeah, I can kind of, relate with the characters not really feeling real until you see the art for them. Because, I've created some characters myself and, I've only had a couple of them, ever, illustrated. And,
Mhm.
it definitely like once you can actually see it, like I
Yeah.
mean it's different seeing it in your head, but once you can like see it down on paper, it's like it's magical, man.
Right.
It's magical. All right, dude. So, what was it that, kind of had you, transition from, you know, deciding to take your writing to comics? You kind of talked a little bit about being inspired by the Image guys. So,
Mhm.
was it, I want to kind of elaborate a little bit on that and what made you decide you wanted to kind of shift into writing comics?
Right. I mean, I think it just came down to the idea of wanting to share something that was inside of me,
Sure.
um, as far as this universe, these characters, and taking a piece of my heart and imagination and saying, hey, this is what I want to share with the world. Like, I want the world to know about these characters because when you're writing something and you're writing for so long, eventually the characters start talking to you and they start telling you what the things that they want to do.
Yeah.
And it becomes a thing where you're like, okay, I got all these ideas in my head, and which one fits with which character.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I feel like comics is the best medium for that. I mean, it's definitely the cheapest one
Sure. For
besides
sure.
animation and video games, but I mean, it's just it's a different world, and there's freedom there, and you can do whatever you want. There's no one telling you I can't make this character jump backwards and grab guns from holsters that are behind him.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Um, Totally lost my train of thought there. So we're just gonna keep going. So, Comicsburg. Let's
Yes.
talk a little bit about Comicsburg. What, for those that don't know, what is Comicsburg?
So originally, Comicsburg was the idea of us joining together to go to conventions and not lose money. You know, conventions can be an expensive venture if you're traveling outside of your own city. So you're talking about uh, cost for the table. Do you need electricity? Do you need a backdrop? Do you need this? Do you need that? How do you want to get there? Are you flying there? Are you taking the bus? Are you taking the train? Are you driving? Um, do you have to eat? So how much is it going to cost for me to get a meal 3 times a day or twice a day at these ventures? And then where are you going to lay your head at night? So those increasing costs are easily split between 3 to 4 people besides one person taking that on. So that's was the beginning of that. So in 2020, when everything was in lockdown, we decided to Comicsburg was a publisher now. We saw that once DC, Marvel kind of went pencils down and comic shops were looking for a product, and like, well, we've got stuff. So that was the beginning of Comicsburg being a publisher. We started printing books with the Comicsburg logos and labeling on it and got those out to shops. And not actually the year after that, we got into Diamond.
Nice.
So we transitioned from hey, this is a name to take to conventions to a publisher.
Very cool. So who else, you said who else makes up Comicsburg?
So Comicsburg is Grant, Lankard, DP Brown, Manny Finer, Alfred Page. Um, there's Isaac. There's William. So I mean, we've got people spread all over the city. We've got people in California, I mean, California, in Atlanta, and we got a person in Peru. So I
Right
mean,
on.
we're stretching our wings out.
That's awesome, dude.
And I mean, as long as you got some kind of connection to Pittsburgh, we'll let you into the group.
That works. Very cool. All right, so I remember where I lost my train of thought at. So,
Mhm.
when you said that, you have all the ideas in your head for the characters, but sometimes the characters speak to you. That's a common thing that I've, heard with different writers. And I know like with myself, I'll have an idea for a character and I'll go start writing that. And then the character's like, we're gonna do this instead. I don't care what
Right,
you want to do. This is what I want to do. And
right,
sometimes it's hard because you're like, I really want to make this work, but sometimes you just have to kind of let go, let Jesus take the wheel, as they say,
Right.
and kind of let the character tell you where to go instead. And usually it ends up in a much better way. So it's kind of cool when they finally get the chance to speak back to you.
Right. So I mean, it happens a lot with the kind of the villain of the first four issues, Revenant. I mean, he's the bad guy, he's the jerk.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening with the character is when I was originally writing the story, I eliminated him completely. And then people were like, "Oh man, I really like Revenant. I really like Revenant." I'm like, "Why?" And then I use like wrestling as a put through on that is that everyone likes the bad guy in wrestling.
Yeah,
No
sure.
one likes the goody two shoe guy because he's not going to do dirty tactics. They want the guy
Yeah,
that's going
yeah,
to do dirty tactics. They want to cheer the bad guy so badly.
sure.
But what ends up happening is when they start cheering the bad guy, they eventually want to make him into a good guy. And I've never liked that. I've always want a bad guy should be a bad guy should be a bad guy. Like Lex Luthor should be
I
a bad guy. The Joker
I
should be
agree.
a bad guy. And that it was one of the things I did with Revenant. I said, okay, everyone likes him. I'm going to take him off the board. I'm going to disappear him, and he won't show up until later in the book. Because I feel like that if a character becomes more popular, you want him to be in the story more. But to do that, he would have to be with the main team, right? Because the book's not about him. So you're
Sure.
like, man, I don't want to make him a good. I don't want a Harley Quinn Revenant. He's a bad guy. I want him to stay a bad guy. So you take him
Yeah,
away and you bring him back in spurts. You're like, oh, so someone is nearby where he's at. He's coming to start some trouble.
very cool. Yeah, that's kind of one gripe I've had about pro wrestling is, nowadays, you don't really ever have a one-way good guy or one-way bad guy. Everyone has a little
Mhm.
bit of that gray area in the middle.
Yeah.
It's, I miss the old days where it's like, nope, this is strictly bad guy, this is strictly good guy.
Mhm.
That's it. I mean, every once in a while, having those gray area characters makes things a little exciting, I guess. But yeah, it's hard because you want to cheer for the bad guy, like you said, but then they're like, well, you're cheering for the bad guy, we got to make him a good guy. You don't really, though. You don't.
Right. Because they want to sell merchandise.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, man. So, speaking of your book, The Edge, it's a series that's been around for a really long time. And now I want to take a minute for those that have never heard of your series, The Edge, before. Why don't we talk a little bit about what it is, and then we can kind of roll into the new book on Kickstarter.
Sure. So the edge is a drug that multiple people have been dosed with to unknown to them. And what it does is that it alters your DNA to kind of waken up abilities that were there but were kind of hidden. So you get these powers, but there's a downfall to the power. So the more you use it, the more it alters you. So the more it alters you, the dangerously close you are to either death or insanity. So in this universe, I don't feel like that anyone can shoot lasers from their eyes without consequences.
Sure.
So you're going to damage your eyes, you're going to burn your eyes out, you're going to go blind. Something bad's going to happen if you shoot lasers from your eyes.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that go on. So each one of the powers has a built-in weakness. So one of our lead characters, Blaine, can create barriers around himself, similar to the Invisible Woman, but he can't keep that up indefinitely because there's no oxygen in there. He's breathing in there. He's creating carbon dioxide, which he can't breathe. So eventually, I can't hold my breath. So eventually, shield has to come down, which leaves him dangerously close to getting shot or hit or something of that nature.
Interesting. That's kind of cool that you're doing that because, a lot of times you think, with a hero that's got, a specific power, like you mentioned, laser vision. You would think that there's got to be some kind of a downfall or some kind of a side effect, I guess, for
Mhm.
lack of a better word. So that's neat that you're kind of incorporating, essentially, real life elements into your book.
Yeah.
So how, when did the idea for the Edge come around? How long have you been, when did you start writing the what has now been become the Edge?
So I would say around 2002
Oh wow,
is
okay.
when I kind of got around everything that I wanted to be part of this. And this is kind of like things on the news, things in other movies or TV shows or stories that I've read or
Yeah,
watched and said that I kind of like the way these things are happening, but what if we did this? Or what if we did that? What if we made it so I don't want to use these powers? So they become more of a curse than a blessing. Like you
Sure.
feel like, okay, someone gets the ability to fly and it's this amazing thing, but what is it going to do to them later on? It's like Chronicles, if you've ever seen that movie,
Yeah.
where they can fly, but they have to wear thermal clothing because it's cold.
Yeah.
Like you don't other things don't think about like the temperature dropping the higher you get into the atmosphere. So, and how do you, if you're flying, how do you land without hurting yourself? So those are the things that go through my head when I have a power, which is what I wasn't doing before. I was like, oh, this guy's got this power. He can shoot lasers from his hand, from his fingertips. How does that work? And then what's the
Yeah.
consequences of that? Are you going to burn your fingerprints and then your fingernails off every time you use your powers? So it's kind of like where I was going with that is that this thing can't work perfectly all the time. It's not a muscle memory. It's not breathing.
Sure.
You're going to forget how it works, or it's not going to work like you think it's going to work every time.
I like that. So when you're coming up with powers for your different characters, how do you decide, what character gets what power, and how do you even come up with what powers you want to include?
Right. So I kind of like as I'm crafting the story and I'm giving the character background, the power kind of manifests from their background. So I was mentioning Blaine before. So his background is he's like a generational mafia kid. And he's continued his life putting barriers up around himself to protect himself from not only people on the streets, but his own family. So
Yeah.
that's how the power comes along. Okay, so now he can make shields around himself, barriers to protect himself from things that are outside of him. So each one of the powers builds on the personality and background of the characters.
Interesting. So going from, putting up those emotional walls or those emotional
Mhm.
boundaries to actually putting up physical ones. That's cool.
Yes.
That's very cool. All right, man. So you've got volume three of the Edge on Kickstarter right now. God's Thunder. It's on Kickstarter right now through the 31st of July. Right now we're recording on the 8th. This will pop out next week, so we'll still have a couple more weeks until the end of the Kickstarter. So why don't we take a minute to talk about the Kickstarter and what you've got to offer?
So the story behind this is that in issue one, we introduce the organization called God's Thunder. So we call our characters in the book and enhanced. So they have enhanced abilities. They don't like any of them. They feel like they're an abomination. They feel like they're all evil and they're going to destroy the not the people, only the people, but the planet. So they want them eliminated. So volume three kicks off the story. It's called God's Thunder. And they actually recruit another person with powers because they can't fight them themselves to take them out.
Sure.
So you've got this 8 foot tall monster called Kyrad with this hammer that he can throw, but he can't make it come back to him. He has to pick it up. And the hammer is part of a set of weapons that come from the past and he's figured out a way to combine them into more weapons. So in one of the images, we have the hammer, and it has a glaive inside the hammer. So not only is he hitting people with the hammer, there's a blade spinning inside of it that's cutting them up.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So I mean, it's like a glaive. So if anyone
Yeah.
has ever seen the movie Crawl, you'll know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about when I say a glaive. Um, so in the Kickstarter, so we've got issue one of the Edge. You can get all 14 issues. So that's 1 through 4 is volume one, 5 through 9 is volume two, and then 10 through 14 is volume three. We've got hot sauce, so this right here.
Oh, nice.
So the Edge has hot sauce. So
Very
we teamed
cool.
up with a company out of Illinois called Gendo's to make
Mhm.
our hot sauce.
Nice.
We've also got Edge coffee, so it's spiced rum coffee.
Nice.
And various other items, but you can get the volume one trade, the volume two trade, the volume three trade by themselves separately, or as a set. And so I think I discounted it down. So I think for each one it was like for 60. I think I made it $50 for all three.
Right
So
on.
you get like a $10 discount. Or if you do digital, same thing. You can get the digital ones for $10 off. I'm going to be putting some more original art up. So we had 2 pieces of original art and they already got picked up by other people.
Nice.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. for everyone to check it out. We've got all the issues you could want. If you just want to start with a certain set, you can do that. You can do the trades, you can do physical or digital. We've got print. So one of our stretch goals, we unlocked a bunch of print. So anyone who backs physically gets a print. We have a crossover book, chess in the Edge crossover that's in there as an add-on. Um, Pretty much the sky's the limit on what you want. Like I try to throw as much into the Kickstarters as I can to make it very enticing for people.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And what I've talked about this before too, where I like where, just because you have a Kickstarter out for a specific, book or volume or whatever, it's nice to be able to offer the other stuff because,
Mhm.
if a new reader comes in and sees, hey, this book looks amazing. Oh no, it's, third volume. Like I've not read the other two. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, I've got this. So it's nice when creators will offer, some of the back catalog to, in addition to some of the current stuff. And not a lot of people do that. I think that's something that should be done more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea because you
Yeah.
don't you go says where can I get it? Like if you don't have it in the Kickstarter, I have to hunt, right? So
Yeah.
now I'm reaching out like, okay, how do I get these other books? I did have someone do that because I didn't have all of the books in the add-on. They were like, okay, I need this book, this book, this book, this book. Can you put it into the add-on? It's like, sure, I'll add them right now. And they were able to get the things that they were missing from their set.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know I've been guilty of that, especially with John Westoff. Shout out to John. He'll have a Kickstarter out for a current book, and I always end up getting not the current one, but I'll get like a different one or one that's not even related to the campaign at all. So it's very, very cool that you and other creators like that offer that kind of thing.
Yeah, just
Um, oh, go ahead.
make it as
Sorry.
much interesting as you can.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about stretch goals. You've talked about you've unlocked a bunch of prints already. Are there any other stretch goals that you've unlocked that we can talk about?
Yeah, so we are one pledge away from the next stretch goal. So in issue number 10, we introduce what's called it's called Octus Vis. So one of the characters figured out how a way to kind of separate the edge and allow them to pick powers.
Oh wow, okay.
So they give this to a team called Standard Issue. So what happens is they pick a power from a wristband and they get a shot in their spine, which gives them that power temporarily. So I want super strength. I can get that, but it's very temporary. It doesn't last. Once the drug passes through your system, you lose the ability. So of course there were test subjects for that. So we're going to visit the people who didn't fare well with the test. They're called the Fiends. So it's a four-part story called The Four Fiends. Where we're going to introduce four of these people who, down on their luck, didn't have anywhere to go, didn't have any money, didn't have anything, and they volunteered to go for as tough subjects, and it doesn't go well for them.
Oh dang. That's fun. I'm excited. Um, so like we mentioned, this is volume three. You said it's issues 9 through 14. No,
10 through
10 through
14.
14.
Mhm.
What's your plan for the series? Do you have like a long-term plan? Is there a issue you want to end with? You just gonna keep making them as long as people buy them? Like what's your plan?
I originally had an end goal in mind. There's a situation that brewed in issue one where Revenant is trying to get his old boss, Tartable, and that's his whole entire goal for the first four issues. He doesn't get him, so I mean, eventually he's going to get him, and I don't know if the book ends there or if we continue on with a new team or what we're going to do. Characters are going to walk away. Characters are going to die. Characters are going to go crazy. So eventually we have to bring new characters in to replace those characters that are taken off the board.
Yeah,
But I mean, I'm having fun with it, and I hope that other people are having fun with it. So as long as we're having fun and it's exciting and it doesn't get dry, I want to keep it going. So I've already got the next three volumes planned. But as I'm writing it, then I'll get ideas for forward thinking ideas for the next set of books. So I've
yeah.
got three planned right now, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Hell yeah, dude. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Very, very cool. All right. Are there anything else you want to talk about the Kickstarter before we, move on?
Yeah.
You
So I
haven't talked
mean,
about?
everybody, if you want to hit it up and help us get to those stretch goals, I've got another stretch goal at 3,000. We're $90 away from that right now.
Hell yeah, dude. But yeah, we'll so yeah, everybody make sure you go check it out. Spread the word, and I'll help get the link shared out so we can help get as many eyes on it as possible. Very cool, man. All right, so what else is coming in the future for the Edge? After this Kickstarter, what do you got planned next?
The so after this Kickstarter is ended and fulfilled, we're going to do a Kickstarter for the Blaine action figure. So 1/18 scale, so 1980s G.I. Joe scale, not O-ring, no. Uh Modern action figure. So we did this last year and we fell 3 grand short of goal. So we're coming back stronger this time. I mean, I did a lot of legwork this time. I went to Toylanta. I've got the flyers out at other shows, so hopefully that we can hit goal this time and get the action figure going. After that, included with that is going to be the first of a trilogy of one shots with the Blaine character, where he's going into Las Vegas to pull an asset out. And this is going to be kind of my riff on if you've ever seen a movie called Smoking Aces. So
Hmm.
it's going to be a riff on that movie. So that's going to be a trilogy. So it's going to be a 3-part story that kind of goes through what happens when the edge is out in the wild. So someone is trying has a vial and he's trying to sell it on the black market, and Blaine is stopping him at every turn so of getting it sold.
Nice.
After that, we're going to do a Revenant one shot, and then 2 other one shots are coming. And then next year we're going to kick off the next volume, which is the volume 4. It's called Fiends. So those fiends that I've been talking about,
Yeah.
they're going to be the whole entire story in the next arc.
Hell yeah. So these one shots, are they like prequel stories? Are they just kind of side stories? Obviously they all kind of relate into the same main story, but how do they fit in the timeline?
So they're going to be kind of like somewhat origin stories of the characters. There's things that I wanted to put into the main book, but it didn't fit. It couldn't get it to work.
Yeah,
So instead of just beating my head against the wall trying to figure out where does this fit, where does this fit, I'm just going to spin it off into its own series.
right on. It's got to be hard, with a team of characters to, be able to fit everything in that you want to fit in. So that's
Yeah.
a good way to spin it out onto its own thing. Very cool. All right, man. Well, some final thoughts I want to do here. If you were to, if Marvin now was to be able to go back in time and give young Marvin some advice, what would it be?
Read more books.
Read more
Take
books?
it,
Okay.
take advantage of granddad's generosity and read more books. He had a library, and I got through most of them, but there was more I could have got to when I was younger. But I mean, as far as that, I wouldn't want to mess with the journey. I mean, like hardship and falling down, it does a lot to your character
Sure.
and makes you strong as a stronger person. I don't think I would have fell down as much. I don't think I would be as standing up straight as I am now.
Right on. That's good advice, man. Also, let's give you a chance to, shout out to everyone out there. Where can they keep up to date with the stuff you're doing? Where can they find you online?
So if you can hit me up, comicsburg.com, theedgecomic.com. I'm on socials are there. I'm on Substack. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Blue Sky. So any of those ones that you want to find me at and want to hit me up and ask and talk about comics, feel free because I am one of those guys that likes to talk to people.
Awesome. Very cool. Now, for me, I want to take a minute to thank Polygon Horizon. Their song Pizza Force, the song I use for the show. It's a great song and they're great dudes. Go check them out. Bandcamp, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you can find them. Show them some love. Fueled by Weird can be found on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can also shoot me an email at fueledbyweird@gmail.com. You can find the show on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere podcasts are sold. You can also check out my link tree to find out all the links that we already talked about. If you can't find me or if you can't remember, it's totally fine because I can't remember sometimes either. Check out my dude Hassel Hutchison. He's got a channel, The Nerdy Manroom Show. He's also has a show of the same name, Hassel's Review. He also does unboxing toy reviews. And also check out Card Subject to Change. It's his version of a What If, but for pro wrestling. It's real great. He puts a ton of work in it, so check it out if you're a pro wrestling fan. Also check out Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No Chinese Food. Big Rob goes around, finds all the good deals, has lots of reviews to share as well. The two of us with our friend Monster make up the Stay Weird Network. It's a podcast network dedicated to bringing some awesome back to the internet because the internet kind of sucks sometimes, especially nowadays. So we want to try to do what we can to make it positive. Um, You can check us out on YouTube at Stay Weird Network, same at Instagram. You can also shoot us an email at stayweirdnetwork@gmail.com. If you like the show, please leave a review and tell your friends because word of mouth is my friend. And remember, kids, it's only weird if you make it weird, so make it real weird. Marvin, thanks so much for joining me tonight, man. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.